Okay, gang, Carlton Flowers here, the Crypto Pro, and it has been a long time since I have done an update on the channel. This one is specifically for XRP. There's so much to talk about, so much that I wanted to share, so let's get caught up and take a look at the action as we have the big red candle that occurred today, or rather yesterday on October 22nd. I wanted to start out with the big picture just so we can have a look. I took most of the fib circles that have been in the past and I made them light so I could actually see the chart. The only one that on this macro level that we need to keep up is the big green machine here that takes us from the all-time high back during the great days of the bull market, January of 2018, down to this low point after the capitulation move that happened. So we can see that we are at about the last line of the big green, and that's going to be very telling, but we'll get into that. This 4.618 line is the only one left from that range that goes from January all the way through to September 11th of 2018. All right, let's zoom in and see if we can analyze the action of what's happening and see if we have any reason to panic, which I don't think we do. I think everything is going to work out for the people that are holding this for the long term, because the longer you hold, the better. Now, keep in mind, I had told the story way back when about when I had first discovered Bitcoin when it was a quarter. And I was going to buy Bitcoin and play around with it and decided against it. The next time that I ever gave it attention, it was trading at 6,000. So I promised myself that I would not be kicking myself 10 years from now saying I wish I would have bought XRP when it was a quarter. So that just frames up for you my vantage point of how I'm looking at XRP. I'm not looking to day trade this thing. I'm not worried about that. At the moment, the majority of my bag is at 45 cents, and I'm still waiting and deciding on when I buy another small bag. All right, so the parallel trading channel that we've been talking about on my TradingView posts. If you go to TradingView, I'm under Carlton Zone. Check it out. I keep just about weekly updates, maybe 2 to 3, depending on the action. And I've been talking about this parallel trading channel that just got broken. So we're going to look a little bit further in here. Up until now, we had a lot of action with this big red fib circle set that predicted a lot of these major pivot points like this one right here. And then it broke us out of this parallel trading channel as we diverged. We took a divergence on the 4.618 and it started to float down, hit the bottom of the parallel trading channel, and we took a dump. I was hoping for the best. I was hoping that we would fight back up to this baseline of the parallel trading channel, and we did not. And I was being positive, and it didn't work out to the positive. My gut feeling was that we were going to take a dive, especially knowing that Bitcoin is in another correction, doing a big dump a rooski. Okay, so at the moment, we are recovering, not really recovering, but we've stopped. Notice the stochastic. We got the fast line crossing over the slow line. The fast line is the blue. The slow is the red. They're crossing over. We are clearly in the oversold area. Let me turn on drawing so I can draw on this chart so we can point these things out. So what's going to happen here when the stochastic hits that rock bottom, it's probably going to reverse trend, because this area here, this is the 20% zone. When we're trading in this little area right here, this is the bottom 20%, which is the oversold zone, and this top area is the overbought zone. So when we get outside of those zones, you can expect a reversal. So this is probably going to start to move back up this way. As that happens, it doesn't mean that price is just going to boom up. It could mean that we just have a slight upward movement before we head down again. So volume has been on this trend. I'm going to get rid of this red line here. We don't need it anymore. That was a point that I was making on TradingView, showing the volume decreasing from this spike, and then it would quiet down. Then we had this spike and quiet down. We went all the way down to here. So it was a big descending triangle. Okay, so whenever you have that, my last post, I said that when we get to the bottom of this, we're going to have a big event. It's either going to be a big spike up or a big spike down. And so at the moment, we were not at the end of the stochastic being in the oversold section. We were right about here. So we still had a ways to go. That's why I was like not thinking this was going to end well, because we were here and the stochastic was still above that 20% line. So that's why we got that dip. Now, let's check out the new fib circle set, which I'm going to actually darken up a bit since this is the one that is in play now. I had this one constructed a week ago and I kept it secret, but now we can be out of the box with it and start to talk about it a little bit more. Notice how this wick headed down to this line. Notice how the pivot points are all matched up with the gray fib rings. We peaked out here on the 3.618. We hit a reverse. We bounced at the bottom of the parallel trading channel, jump up, come back down. We pivoted again on the 4.236. And so that told me this gray set, it's hot. It's got some pivot action. It's got some gravitational attraction action. It works. So once we blew this line here, the baseline, that was it. So this wick almost made it to the gray line. And what I'm thinking could happen from here, we might have a slight little recovery. And then as soon as that happens, I'm going to bet you we're going to hit this line. I have this little theory that whenever you cross a fib ring that is significant, if you're at a downtrend and we're on the downward sloping portion of this circle, if you chop up a circle into 4 quadrants, let me draw this out to you. Here's a circle. Now let's make some lines here and let's just make this cut up a pie. Whenever price is headed kind of downward and we come close to a fib ring right here and we're in a downtrend and we're in this quadrant true, this is, let me put on the numbers so you can know what I'm talking about here. We're going to call this quadrant 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, going clockwise. So what happens is if we're in quadrant 2 and we're coming up on this ring and we're already in a downtrend, we usually get a dump that it breaks out here. If we were in an uptrend, sometimes it can break up in quadrant 2. If we are in quadrant 1 and we're on an uptrend like this and it hits this ring, we usually get a bounce like that. So that's what that is. Let's clear everything so we can draw some more on the chart. Now, looking forward, let's kind of mash this out here. Since we have the big green out here, this is what concerns me. Well, it doesn't concern me because none of this makes a hill of beans difference if you're holding for the long run. I'm in this for a few years, and so I think we might have another buying opportunity because if we fail to make it back up to this trading channel, which I don't think we're going to, it's a pivot point. And so the good thing about these pivot points, let's say if trading action reverses and this is over and now we start to go in this direction, I'm going to be able to make a new fib circle set, and it's going to be based on this low point up to the high point here. So that's going to give us a new set of rings that's going to predict the stopping points as we go forward. Now, if this is truly a pivot point, which I think that it is, I'm pretty sure that it is, and if we hit this ring here during this quadrant, I think when the dive happens, we're going to go straight down towards somewhere along the big green 4.618. So we're going to end up somewhere in this area. So whenever you see people saying that 11 cents was going to happen, well, technically it's possible. I mean, if we hit this ring and we go straight down, if there's a deep sell-off, if BTC has its big capitulation event and it breaks down to 5,400, takes a break and then dives again, if we see the 3,000 range in BTC, we could see 11 cents in XRP. Okay, if we don't, I think that we'll probably jump down somewhere around the 14 to 15 cents range. So it's possible. Is it definite? No. It's probable. Okay, so the more we trade on this dip, if this dip does not recover really quick, each day that we continue in this downtrend means that the probability goes up. as far as the continuance. That's confusing. The continuance of the downtrend. So when we had hit this point, let's zoom in a little bit, turn off drawing. When we were just messing around right below the line here, when we hit this point, I said that the probability of moving up or down after we had broken this line, it was 50-50. 50% chance of breaking down and 50% chance of breaking up. Now that we see that we had another candle after the first one that we broke, that reduced the probability of getting back up in the channel. We had these two little green ticks on the 4 hour, and then we had the deep red candle, which increases the probability of continued downward movement yet again. So instead of 50-50, now we're at the 80% probability that we're going to continue this movement down. Let's make that in red, actually. So it's going to take a lot of things to say that we're going to reverse trend and go right back up. But this is just October. There have been some folks, we had a commenter saying that November 7th is going to be a positive event for XRP. So that's possible. I think it's a little early. I wouldn't really bank on that, but let's zoom out and just see. Let's get November 7th on this chart, which is somewhere about right here. So if there is going to be some type of a big positive event that pumps up the price, here's November 7th. Let's draw on the chart. So let's get the green out. If we make it, if the move does not happen until November 7th, we're right at about this point here. So what does that tell us? If this person is correct with their prediction, and it could be, then we could have this break down to the line, which could take us to 11 cents, or as I said, it could be somewhere in the 13, 14, 15 cents range. That could be the bottom. Who knows? So I'm going to keep in mind that 16 cents and a half is a possible bottom. And that once we hit this ring, this could be the time that we start to crawl up this big ring. We could have action that looks, something like this, okay, where we bounce up and down along this line. Or we could actually crawl straight up the line. We've seen that happen in the past. That's a possibility. We don't know. But if we zoom out further, let's zoom out further, taking drawing off, and let's scrunch this down just a little bit so we can see the bigness of the big green fib circle set. Okay, we're going to have to hit the 1 day here so we can really see this. There we go. There's our 1 day. There's our green ring. So let's turn drawing back on and make our little red candle that takes us down to this point. We can see that crawling up this ring until we hit what? The magical level of 32 cents, or 30 cents. We want to break that 30-cent level. I think it was somewhere around here. This is the level we need to break, because then that will give us a higher high since the beginning of September. And excuse me, very well could be the point that we start a consolidation move and then maybe a bull market. But there is going to be a major event that happens that brings us to the $5-6 range, and it could be, $10 to $20 range. Who knows? Early 2020, first quarter, it is very, very possible. But this is how I look at it from the long term. So let's turn off drawing one more time. Let's clear everything and just go back to the big picture. As I always say, zooming out is the best way that you can get an idea of what's going on and why we shouldn't be panicking right now. So if I bought anywhere under 50 cents, you're fine. I'm not upset that I bought on the peak at 45 cents. I think when this happened right here, I got excited, bought at 45 cents here, it peaked to 50, and then the bomb happened. But I'm okay. I think that if we hit into the 20 cents range, I think anything below, say, the bottom of this parallel trading channel, this is going to be a buy zone for me. So anything that happens down in this area here, I need to be buying and holding long term. Now, as always, this is not financial advice, and you should not be gambling and day trading this market, because it's very, very dangerous. If you want to day trade, it's better to get into stocks blue chip stocks get on the NASDAQ, and they're not always 100% safe. But the crypto market, this is the wild, wild west. It's the early days, and this market is a drop in the bucket size-wise compared to the Dow, compared to the market cap of gold. We are not scratching the surface of where cryptocurrency is going to go. And that's why it's easy for whales, institutional investors, to manipulate the market. Anyone who says the market is not being manipulated is lying to you. Yes, it's being manipulated. And when I say manipulation, that means that people who hold the big bags can sell and drop the price and create a panic. And then they can buy and they can pump up the price, which is allowable. It's legal. So it's fair play. It's not like they're doing something that's against the rules. So keep that in mind and know that if you're looking for the long term, this is what we're waiting for right there. We're not concerned with bouncing around here. Look where we were before. This is when I first discovered XRP. I was going to buy right here at 22 cents. And then when it went to $1, I said I missed the boat. So I did the dumb thing. I waited until the thing peaked out at the all-time high, and guess what I did? I bought right here, and then I sold it right here. And then I bought again one more time here, and then I sold it there, and I said I need to stop. And they were small amounts. I mean, very small amounts. So I waited and watched, but I honestly thought we would never see the 20 cents days again when we were in the midst of the distribution phase after the big bull run. Okay, so that's all I've got for now. Stay tuned. I'm going to get into some more immediate details, and we will chat on TradingView. Follow me on TradingView. Subscribe there. Ask your questions. I'd be glad to answer your questions. I've had a lot of good questions on TradingView, and we've really been chopping it up there. So I welcome everybody to just jump in the conversation. We'll all have a good time. Get out the popcorn. The show is just about to start. It's going to get fun. This is Carlton Flowers, the Crypto Pro, and I am done.